Alright guys, today we're here to talk about the best hero loadouts for the Ventures.
Can I be your superhero?
Alright guys, if you love this Save the World content, please smash that like button and leave a comment. Thank you so much guys. Alright, let's get right into it. The best hero loadouts for the new Ventures. Well, the new Ventures are very, very different this time around. This time we have a melee modifier. So the further you are away from the enemies, the smaller the damage you're going to do to them. However, the closer you get to the enemies, the more insane your damage output becomes. So no matter which character you're using, it is very important that you get right up in their face and melt them into the ground. Alright, so the number one loadout, hero loadout for the Ventures, takes my number one spot because it's so easy. Because when you're starting out in the Ventures at low levels especially, this build absolutely shreds everything into dust. And throughout the low level Ventures, I've been basically AFKing my way through the entire thing by using this crazy loadout. And we are of course talking about Enforcer Grizzly. Alright, so Enforcer Grizzly is a 12-second duration champion. We jack him up like crazy. The reason why this build is so absolutely ridiculous is because we're running with Happy Holidays to give it super short cooldowns. We have Overbearing to make the range of this Teddy insane. Under Warranty gives your Teddy a crit rate of 100% on the very first shot. Basically every time it targets a new enemy, it does 100% crit chance. Just wildly powerful. You can clear out a whole bunch of small enemies like in one shot, just bang, 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 bang. Super nuts. Super nuts. Then we got Berserker giving us an extra 30% Teddy damage, fragment generation to generate fragments to make it so that our cooldowns are extremely fast, and we get tons and tons of Teddies for like no cooldown, just back-to-back wall-to-wall Teddies. Lastly, we have the Gadgeteer because our goal is to do nothing. It's just to basically throw out turrets and Teddies and stand around and let all of the auto fire kill everything. So we want our turrets to have the lowest cooldowns that we possibly can. Now, the way that you want to play this character is to focus on using your turrets. Anytime the turrets are up, throw one turret out. Whenever you get into a skirmish, throw a turret out, let the turret fight, don't use your Teddy. The goal is to get your turrets to kill everything to generate lots and lots of fragments. Anytime that a turret is ready to go, you'll use the turret instead of the Teddy and save the Teddy for later, because that way you'll have all of these fragment Teddies that you can just place back to back to back when you actually need them. It's just amazing. Now, the other thing to know about this character is that you are unfortunately going to get first place for combat every single game, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, it's too bad, right? Oh, man, oh, it's such a shame. This character has the highest combat score of any character in the entire game ever and forever. I don't think anyone can possibly compete with this guy. And you can usually get number one using nothing but Teddies and your Seismic Slam. Don't even shoot a bullet. Don't do anything. Just put down Teddies and slams and turrets and get first place for combat. If you actually decide to use your weapons, oh my god, yeah, just get out the way. This guy is absolutely unrivaled, the number one combat score monster ever in all of Save the World, making him easily my number one slot. Alright, number two goes to Commando Spitfire. This guy is a freak. He has the going commando cooldown reduction by 66%, making this guy the most insane minigunner of all time. He basically has 5-second cooldowns on his minigun so long as you are using Happy Holidays in your team perk. Man, oh man, this guy is just wild. He's the greatest infinite damage convenience character in the entire game. This guy is so strong that MEAGS and I and a couple buddies used just this character and slow fields and nothing else. No builds, no traps. You guys have probably seen the video, and I was the first in the first in the world to defeat Twine 10 using literally just minigun and slow field and nothing else. That's how powerful this freak show is. This guy has just infinite damage. just a barrage of destruction likes of which you've never seen. And yeah, this is how you build them. Survivalist for heals, Ain't Done Yet for extra duration, Boomstick for extra damage, First Cup of the Day to get that extra crit rate and crit damage, and lastly, you have a few options on this one. I like to run it with Saurian Hide because once I get my shields burnt up and I'm down to my health, I don't like to die in this character. I find he's a little squishy, so I like to get that huge armor bonus that is fueled by Survivalist. So I get this big armor, I'm taking less damage to my hit points, and Survivalist keeps regenerating it and keeps on, you know, really utilizing that Saurian Hide power. And I really like that. But there's other options as well. You could actually go with Snowing Commando. This will make it so that your every 20th shot does a snowball, which is an AoE water-based damage that splashes hitting an area, which is really, really effective against killing like small enemies. When you have a bunch of small enemies packing up, the snowballs do AoE splash damage and can really burn up a lot of those really, really fast. So it's a good option too. So whatever works for you. All right, and since we are in the venture season of the world of Melee, we have to talk about the queen of Melee, Paleo Luna. This hero is absolutely, completely mad. She's so nuts, man. She gets weapon damage. She adds 9% of her current health to her melee weapon damage. Since you're going to be running with a Blast from the Past build, your health is going to be insane. Therefore, the damage per swing is going to be insane. Now, the thing to know about her is that her damage is per swing, and there's no timer on that. So, when you are using melee weapons on Luna, it is very important that you use fast, super mega fast attack speed weapons, because the majority of your damage is going to come from her commander ability, and the faster you swing it, the more you are going to harness that power and just delete everything in front of you. Now, my strategy with this one is very survival based. I like to run my ninja, my melee ninja, with just pure survival. Saurian Hide for extra armor, Saurian Instinct for heals every time you use abilities like your Crescent Kick, your Kunai, or even your Smoke Bomb. Then you have your Anatomy Lessons to give you that extra crit rate on your swords, axes, and scythes. I generally use swords on this character because, of course, swords are the fastest attacking, therefore they're going to get the most benefit from this character. The best weapon that you can possibly get with this character in the Ventures is probably going to be the Stabsworth III. If you can get it with 2 attack speed perks on it, it's going to be completely, absolutely out of control. Especially if you get lucky and manage to pull one with energy damage. Oh my god. Fingers crossed. Then we have Monster Smash for life regeneration, which gets stronger as you get weaker. And lastly, we have Survivalist, which will give you extra health regeneration whenever you get kills. This is a pure, absolute survival build, and the reason I run it that way is because Paleo Luna's damage is so insane and so high, you don't really need to run damage perks on this character for her to insta-kill everything that she looks at. However, if you want to go with more of a damage-focused build, you have some options. You can always decide to go with a Assassination and Corrosive Strikes build. Assassination will give you, it'll actually build up percentage damage the more time you strike your enemies, up to 5 times, and Corrosive Strikes will give you a massive damage bonus every time you get crits. You get a 30% snare, and 37% of the damage dealt you get per second for 3 seconds, which is just horrific levels of damage. However, for this to be effective, you of course need to have a crit rate, crit damage weapon. So that is an option for you. Alternatively, if you don't want to rely on crit, you can always go with the Legendary Blade, which will increase your shadow stance by your sword damage by 25% whenever you are in a shadow stance, which is just vicious damage as well. So you have a lot of options to build Paleo any way you like, depending on if you like more survival or more crit or more flat damage. The choice is yours. Alright, so if we're talking about best hero loadouts, we have to talk about the game's resident most overpowered hero in the entire game. Now, she rates a little lower because You have to have a Xenon bow for this character to achieve God tier status. However, if you happen to get a Xenon bow in the Ventures, which is entirely possible, I had 3 or 6 of them in the Venture Season 1, this character is an ascended deity, likes of which Save the World nearly crumbles under the might of her sheer awesomeness. This character, just to give you an idea of how broken and ridiculous this character is, I want to remind you what the other heroes have. Normal heroes in the game have a 50% damage bonus as a commander. This is all heroes. This is for assault rifles, this is for pistols, this is for rocket launchers. It is for everything. 50% is what a commander perk is supposed to do for bonus damage. Stoneheart Farrah, on the other hand, she gets, get this, on bow hit, every time she hits with a bow, her arrows splinter, dealing, no, not 50% damage, 60% damage. But not against one target, against 5 targets. So, let me just remind you, 50% damage bonus if you're running any other hero, 60% times 5 if you're running with Stoneheart Farrah. Seems fair, right? Seems fair. It's a miracle this character hasn't got nerfed because, man, this character is freaking nuts. What's even crazier is that if you have her with the Xenon bow, you can shoot through shields, you can shoot through riot huskies, and what's even crazier about the Xenon bow is that the bow is not a direct arrow shot like a bullet like other bows. It actually hits like an area. It is a projectile with an area of effect which goes through and hits like multiple enemies. Even sometimes when it looks like you miss your shot, the arrow still hits everything and then splinters and then hits everything. This character is bonkers powerful. The loadout that you want to be using for her is Blast from the Past, Saurian Hide for extra armor, Saurian Might for extra damage, Survivalist to get those heals, Sure Shot for the extra sniper critical damage. Of course, you have to have crit rate on your Xenon bow for this to be effective, and Quick Scope to get that extra flat damage, which is absolutely crazy. What a build, man. What a build. Alright guys, now lastly, I want to talk to you about the greatest team composition that you can ever have, ever, in all of the Ventures. If you have a group of 4, if you have 4, 3 friends and yourself, 4 people, and you can build this build, it honestly doesn't matter if you bring level nothing people. I did this all Venture season long. I was carrying nothing but low level players through every single mission through the entire game using this loadout. Whenever I help people with adventures, I require them to have these characters because it is just an auto win. And the beauty of these builds is that literally anybody, any noob, can build this team. All right, so the first hero in this lineup is Mr. B.A.S.E Kyle. B.A.S.E Kyle is the hub, the god of Constructor Madness. This guy gives your building health an extra 84%. 84%. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. The loadout that you want to use for this character is Supercharged Traps, which gives you a massive damage bonus to your traps. You want to be running with Frozen Castle to slow the enemies down that step on your floors. Tough Traps will give you extra durability on your traps to make sure that they don't run out of charges. Power Modulation is going to give you auto repair so that every 10 seconds your walls are going to automatically regenerate 4% of your max health, which is crazy because the max health is extreme on this guy, right? So Power Modulation is even more powerful because of the insane amount of health that the buildings actually have. Then you have Hot Fixer to increase your building repair speed, allowing you to give those walls a little bit of extra love. If the auto repair isn't keeping up, you can actually use an enhanced build repair to really wrap it back up and take control. Lastly, we have B.A.S E Kyle. This guy is the king of support. You also need to have him in order to unlock the Supercharged Traps team perk, and he gives you 1 extra range on your base connectivity, making your base shield cover a larger area, making your base absolutely immortal. It's just, this guy is nuts. All right, the next character is actually just a flip-flop. The next character is Power-Based Knox. This guy is an absolute god. His commander ability regenerates 11% of the wall health every 10 seconds. Think about that. 11% of a wall that B.A.S E Kyle has set up. Crazy, right? Crazy. Now, what else is interesting is that the commander ability from Power-Based Knox will combine with the support ability of B.A.S E Kyle. So even though Power-Based Knox is used twice, once in a commander slot, once in a support slot, you're going to get both of those combined together. You can't have 2 commander abilities, you can't have 2 support abilities, but you can have 1 commander and 1 support put together into 1 ultimate ability. The same goes with Lofty Architecture, which increases your building health by 28%, which combines with the massive commander bonus that you get, which, get this, when you are done combining these 2 characters together, combining the support commander, Lofty Architecture, and the power modulation, you're going to have 22,000 hit point metal walls with the craziest health regeneration that you have ever seen in your entire life. And if that wasn't enough, Power-Based Knox and B.A.S E Kyle are just normal characters. Whenever I tell people to run them, they're like, oh, I don't have him. I'm like, yes, you do. You got him when you started the game. Everybody has these characters because they are classic set characters that you get. B.A.S E Kyle is literally the first hero in the entire game that you get. When you are building this team, this 4-man team, the constructors do not matter if they are green, blue, purple, or gold heroes. It doesn't matter if they're legendary. You can use green heroes so long as you have 2-star heroes. If you have 2-star heroes, that means you have your commander ability unlocked, and you can just have a lobby, literally a person who just started the game, take this hero, place his base, and then AFK for the rest of the game, and these guys will win games. Just the fact that they're in max power level 211 enemies, god enemies, and you will still win the game just because of these crazy constructors being on your team. It's wild. And as you see, all the rest of the heroes are the same. Frozen Castle, Tough Traps, Hotfix, and Mega Base. Alright guys, the next one is the Ice King. That's right, it's another flip-flop. This one is just as insane as all the other ones. This one's a little more challenging because not everybody's going to have the Ice King. I usually use the Ice King myself when I'm running. I'll have the lobbies run with base and power base because everybody has them. I run with Ice King because, you know, not many people have him, so I always have him set up as my pre-loadout. Now, the Ice King is just a huge benefit to this team because he actually gives you the ability to slow all the enemies down that walk into your base, but most importantly, when enemies hit your walls, they become frozen for 4 seconds. 4 seconds. That is such an insane amount of time. Now, I want to remind you that you have base and power base giving you 22,000 hit point walls with the most insane life regeneration that you've ever seen. When you add 4 seconds of frozen enemies to that equation, that means your walls are invincible and have years, it feels like years to regenerate those hit points because this one just slows it all down. It slows the enemies walking into the base, it slows the enemies that hit your base, it buys you so much time that enemies can't even begin to break through your walls. The only way that enemies are going to put your walls in danger is if you get like 3 smashers charging your walls all at the same time. And even then, so long as you have tar traps sitting in front of those walls, you are going to win anyway. It is crazy. And just like the other constructors, I just have all of the same support team in this one as well. And the fourth hero for this god tier loadout is the all-powerful mini-boss killer himself, Mr. Diecast Jonesy. This guy is the most powerful mini-boss killer in the entire game. He has going commando damage bonus of 50%, and more importantly, his damage type gets changed to energy. If that wasn't crazy enough, he also has War Cry, which can be activated right before you start your going commando to give your minigun the craziest damage that anyone could ever imagine in this game. No weapon, no hero, no anything can compare with the unstoppable damage of Diecast Jonesy, the mini-boss killing god of war. Now, this build will remind you very much of the Commando build because it is very, very similar. You run Happy Holidays for fast cooldowns, Survivalist for the self-heal, of course, Ain't Done Yet for the long duration, Going Again to get that super fast cooldown, First Cup of the Day to get those extra crit rate and massive crit damage bonuses, and Saurian Hide to make sure you survive long enough to get this insane attack off. Saurian Hide, I think, is extra important on this character because this guy here has a slower cool. You can't use this back to back every 5 seconds. This is like a once every 25 second ability. So you have to make sure that you save it for when you need it. When you see a smasher, you use it. When you see a mini boss, you use it. Other than that, be very careful about using this ability because you need to have it up when it's go time. Otherwise, this guy's not going to be able to realize his full potential. Now, with this character here, usually you want to have your highest level character player use this guy because this is going to be your big boy damage guy. So you get your highest level player to run with the boss killer, and then all of your constructors don't matter. They can all be super low level, and it's no problem at all. If you didn't care at all about killing the mini bosses, you could just go with a hot fixer hazard for the ultimate passive gameplay because he gets that 30% building repair, which allows you to weather pretty much any storm. Now, there's one major thing that you need to know about this build, about all of these heroes, and this is very, very important. So remember, when you are running with all of these characters, all 4 players on the team need to be running Banner and Slowfield. These are the 2 most powerful gadgets in the entire game. These are the only 2 gadgets that can single-handedly win a game by themselves. Just to show you understand how powerful these things are. Check this out. This ability drops a banner, healing player building's health to 250% for 45 seconds within a 1-tile radius. Meaning, if you were in a retrieve the data and you stood in the middle on top of the data and you slammed that down right in the middle, all 4 walls and the buildings, if you have inverted ramps outside of those walls, are all going to get a 250 hit point buff. Now, I want you to remember that you have a commander and a support B.A.S.E Kyle giving you 22,000 hit point walls, which then become 250 times stronger for 45 seconds. Meaning for 45 seconds, your base is actually immortal, having so much health nothing could ever get through. And if 4 players have these abilities, that is 45 times 4. That is 3 minutes of immortality if your team is on voice communication and can effectively communicate with each other. Okay, I'm going to go next. I'm going to go next. I'm going to go next. And you will have an immortal base. And if that wasn't enough, the banners also become a respawn beacon, allowing you to respawn directly inside your base if you die without your teammates having to kill themselves trying to revive you. The slow field, on the other hand, is even more insane. The banner is great, but the slow field is something entirely, this is the skill that I used to beat Twine 10 with no builds and no gun, no anything, just no anything, right? That's how powerful slow field is. For taking away 40% of the enemy's speed is a game-winning ability. And this thing is also on a 45-second duration, which means 3 minutes worth of completely disabling your enemies from being able to attack your base. So if you combine that with your banners and your slow fields together, you have a total of 6 minutes of immortality. The longest defense in the game is only 7 minutes. And if that wasn't enough, if you place your slow fields first at the very start of the game, you will actually, the cooldown on this one is low enough that you will actually get 2 slow fields in a single game, meaning you have 9 minutes worth of immortality on your base. Slow field, slow field, slow field, slow field, banner, 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 slow field, slow field, slow field, slow field. Win forever. Win forever. And that's not even taking into consideration the fact that you could be fighting, right? You could be fighting like normal. When you build your base, the base design that you can use with this is so freaking easy. All you have to do is build walls around the core, build inverted ramps around the walls, and then put knock-up traps underneath them just to knock enemies away, which of course will buy you more time. Or you can put tar traps on the ground with a knockback trap on the wall, and you can throw an angled wall in there just to buy yourself time, so that when they destroy those things, then the knockback knocks them flying, and and that's it. Just like this basic structure, right? Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Sorry, MEAGS. She hates when I say that. Alright guys, so there is all my tactics for the ultimate loadout, all of the ultimate loadouts, to completely destroy every single venture mission you could ever want to do. Have fun guys, wield this power responsibly. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Smash that like button, and I will see you guys in the next one. Oh yeah!